What's up YouTube, KemoKidd here, and on Monday, June 12th, there is going to be another balance change in Clash Royale. Clash Royale does balance changes about once a month, if not a little more, which is good for the game because they don't want a card to be too powerful where everyone is using it, and at the same time, if they notice no one is using a certain card, they'll juice it up a little bit so that way it's more enticing to use, because they want to. The reason they have all these cards in the game is so that whenever you go against someone, there's just a variety of decks that you can use that you'll go against and whatnot. The biggest change, which I don't want to say I knew was coming, but I felt like a change should have been made. You guys know I do videos with Kratos. He had the Night Witch in his shop, and right away Dan the Man and I were telling him, oh, buy the Night Witch, it's overpowered, it's crazy. He bought it, and this first replay I'm showing, you could see that he doesn't even care that the giant skeleton's coming at him. He knows that this Night Witch behind the golem, mirrored and cloned and all that stuff, is just going to be way too overpowered, and he's going to 3-crown him, so he just doesn't care, and he shared the replay with me. So what they're going to do to the Night Witch, they're going to nerf it. It's going to spawn, when it dies, it's going to spawn 3 bats instead of 4. The bat spawn speed is going to change from 6 seconds instead of 5 seconds. So she's not throwing out as many bats. And the initial bat spawn is going to be slower. So as soon as you drop the Night Witch, 2 bats aren't going to fly off from her. Which is actually going to be the same thing they're doing to the witch. When you spawn the witch, she's not going to throw out 3 skeletons right away. That first spawn is going to be slower, and I'll get to the witch in a second. So the Night Witch, yes, definitely needed to be nerfed. That card was crazy. I might not buy it now. I'll probably do an upgrade to one of my cards instead of buying that Night Witch from my shop right away. I know eventually I'll get her, but here's what I thought was the most interesting thing. Is the bats. The bats is that card in your game that's soon to be released, not released yet. So the bats have not been released yet they are already getting nerfed. So this is the first time I saw a card getting nerfed before it even came out. The bat count, when you use the bats, you're going to have 4 bats come out. Initially, I guess they were going to do 5. Of course, I've never seen the card before being used. It's not in game, but instead of 5 bats, you're only going to have 4 of them come out. Other changes in the game, the tornado. A lot of people use the tornado. I messed around with it a little bit. I'm not that good with it, but people that know how to use the tornado, it's a great card to use defensively. The tornado is going to last 2.5 seconds instead of 3 seconds. So it's going to be a half second less time spinning around, pulling your troops away. The log's range is going to be shortened to half a tile, so it's going to go. It's going to roll 11.1 tiles instead of 11.6. The Goblin Gang. I'm not sure the Goblin Gang needed to be nerfed. I saw nothing wrong with it, but whatever. Instead of 3 goblins and 3 spare goblins, what's going to happen is you're going to have 3 goblins and 2 spare goblins. So one of those spare goblins is not going to be with the gang. He left the gang for whatever reason, changed his life, I don't know. What else do we have here? The Bandit is getting buffed. So the Bandit's hit points are going up 4%. And the dash initiates quicker. My guess is when she disappears and does a little noise and shake, that's probably going to be faster. That's what my guess is. So instead of her stopping there and making a little noise and dashing, she's going to stop and dash much quicker than that. Skeletons. Holy cow. Make up your mind about the skeletons. When the skeletons came out, I'm talking about the 1 elixir skeletons, it spawned 4 skeletons. Then Supercell decided we need to nerf that. It's too much for 1 elixir to counter things like the Prince and the Mini Peck and stuff, so they changed it to 3 skeletons. Then Supercell decided, you know what, let's make it back to 4 skeletons, and now on Monday, it's going back to 3 skeletons. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Inferno Dragon is also getting buffed. Hit points plus 7%. and it's going to retarget troops 0.2% quicker. I don't see the Infernal Dragon too much, which is probably why, you know, being a legendary card, they want it to be like, you know, legendary cards are awesome. That's probably the legendary card I see the least out of all the cards. The clone spell. If you don't see the clone spell too much, well, it's going to have a faster cloning effect. So I guess that's their way of buffing that. I mean, you can't change hit points or, you know, anything on that because it's just a spell. So it's going to clone faster. The Battle Ram. It's a card I just started finally using. It says damage that destroys the Ram won't affect the Barbarians. So kind of like the Dark Prince or the Guards. You know, whatever you do to break their initial shield, or in this case their Ram, they're going to get a brand new, you know, bar of health for the Barbarians. What else do we have here? We got so the Tornado, the Poison, and the Heal. Multiple of them will stack. So I guess if you're playing by yourself, if you're using the mirror, you can mirror the Poison and it'll do double damage on it. Or if you mirror the Heal, you know, it'll do twice as much healing effect. My guess is this is more for clan battles. So if you and whoever you're battling with both have a Poison or both have a Heal, or a Tornado. So Tornado would do double damage. Doesn't do much damage, but it'll do double damage. Get rid of minion hordes and the goblins. You know, they don't die from it, but now they will if you use 2 of them. So if you and the person you are battling with both decide, hey, let's both drop a Poison right now, or let's both heal something, it'll do, it'll stack. It'll do, both will be affected. So, you know, the Night Witch getting this nerf right away, I did see coming, but again, I didn't know for sure it was going to happen. I know when Sparky first came out, people were going crazy saying Sparky's way too OP. You know, it's crazy. They need to change it. It does way too much damage, this and that. And Supercell said, no, they didn't. They never changed it. They never nerfed it. They said once you know, figure out how to defend Sparky, it's really not that difficult of a card to counter. And you know, I was one of them that said Sparky's crazy, and then sure enough, now when I see Sparky, I'm not too worried about it. I do know how to counter it. So you know, for the Night Witch, as much as I thought that was way overpowered, you know, too crazy, I was watching replays and stuff of people mirror and cloning and all the bats, and then even when you just do that, you know, kill that cloned witch, we got 5 more bats, or you know, 4 more bats coming from it and stuff like that. So it's just the overload of bats was just crazy and stuff. She does a lot of damage, you know, hitting and whatnot. But yeah, Supercell decided not to change to Sparky, but I guess they are realizing the Night Witch is way too overpowered of a card. So that's all I got for this video. Just wanted to give you the update on all of what is going to be changed on Monday the 12th. So hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time.